Close your eyes. Pay attention to your breathing. Know that everything that is happening because we want to grow through them. Notice all the brilliance in every situation that's happening around us. Breathe in a lot of positivity and breathe out any discomforts. Breathe in love, faith, and integrity. And breathe out the feelings of loneliness, doubts, and concerns. Breathe in peace and prosperity. Feel the calmness. Feel the abundance. And breathe out the constant negative thoughts. Breathe in joy and care. And breathe out any sadness or not being cared for. Resume normal breathing. Invoke our ancestors, our loving and healing masters, angels and archangels. Know that there are so many of these loving souls ready to help us. Seek their guidance. Seek their blessings. Feel them in your space. Invoke Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, your favorite deities, gods. Surrender to them and seek their blessings. Invoke your higher consciousness. Align with it. Invoke radical consciousness and prime resource energy. Become the channel of these loving and healing frequencies. Align with them totally. Become aware of your physical surroundings. Listen to the sounds, feel the air. Get rooted. Ground to the reality. With this alignment with the prime resource energy, we have this additional charge to handle the adversities due to physical realities. Let us know that we have the power to heal ourselves and others despite all the adversities. Thank you. Let me open the reading for today. It is FLL 22, Left Surrender Chakra. Reminder to continue to put your best foot forward with an attitude of surrender. Only with consistent and persistent faith, we will be able to continue putting our best foot forward with an attitude of surrender. We have probably tried resisting in the past. We have probably tried rebelling in the past. Trust our inner guidance. Continue having faith in the greater good behind all designs and moves of life. Continue with an attitude of total surrender, with faith and inner strength. We are being guided to continue putting our best foot forward in certain direction. Some keywords for today are constant surrender, persistence with surrender, constant surrender with higher consciousness and faith. So let's see what comes up today. I find I need to have faith. Asha, will you recite? I R5, I need to have faith. I R5, I need to have faith. I R5, I need to surrender.
I R5, my need to surrender.
I R5, I need to surrender.
I R5, my need to surrender.
I R5, I need to surrender.
R5, my need to surrender.
I R5, I need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, I need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, I need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be consistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be persistent with surrendering.
I R5, my
I R5, I need to be persistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be persistent with surrendering.
I R5, I need to be persistent with surrendering.
I R5, my need to be persistent with surrendering.
I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, my belief. I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, my belief that surrendering is losing.
I R5, I need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I R5, my need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I R5, I need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I R5, my need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I R5, I need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I R5, my need to surrender to the higher consciousness.
I affirm my need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm my need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm I need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm my need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm I need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm my need to have faith in higher consciousness.
I affirm I need to see the brilliance in all situations.
I affirm my need to see the brilliance in all situations.
I affirm I need to see the brilliance in all situations.
I affirm my need to see the brilliance in all the situations.
I affirm I need to see the brilliance in all situations.
I affirm my need to see the brilliance in all the situations.
I surrender to the situations leading me to grow.
I surrender to the situation leading me to grow.
I surrender to the situations leading me to grow.
I surrender me the situation leading me to grow.
I surrender to all situations leading me to grow.
I surrender to the all situation leading me to grow.
I admit all my situations under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I admit all my situation under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I admit all my situations under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I admit all my situation under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I admit all the situations under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I admit all the situation under the loving care of radical consciousness.
I affirm my perceptions preventing me from surrendering.
I affirm my perception preventing me from surrendering.
I affirm my perceptions preventing me from surrendering.
I affirm my perception preventing me from surrendering.
I affirm my perceptions preventing me from surrendering.
I affirm my perception preventing me from surrendering.
Any feelings, any thoughts?
Yes?
What's happening?
No, ma'am. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I affirm my reluctance to surrender.
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 I affirm my belief that surrendering is weakness.
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 I see my weakness.
I see my weakness.
I feel my weakness.
I feel my weakness.
I acknowledge my weakness.
I acknowledge my weakness.
I love and accept my weakness.
I love and accept my weakness.
I honor my weakness.
I honor my weakness.
I honor the brilliance in my weakness.
I honor the brilliance in my weakness.
I am the weakness and the weakness is me.
I am the weakness and the weakness is me.
I recognize my weakness.
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 I solve my weakness.
I solve my weakness.
I dissolve my weakness.
I dissolve my weakness.
I resolve my weakness.
I resolve my weakness.
I co-solve my weakness.
I co-solve my weakness.
I super-solve my weakness.
I super-solve my weakness.
I awaken the strength within me to solve all my weaknesses.
I awaken the strength within me to solve all the weaknesses.
I awaken the strength within me to solve all my weaknesses.
I awaken the strength within me to solve all the weaknesses.
I awaken my inner strength.
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 I awaken my inner strength by surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I said, I
Awaken my inner strength.
I awaken my inner strength to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength by surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength to surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength by surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength to surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength by surrendering to the higher consciousness.
I awaken my inner strength to awakening to the higher consciousness.
The more I surrender, the more I grow.
The more I surrender, the more I grow.
The more I surrender to the higher consciousness, the more I grow.
The more I surrender to the higher consciousness, the more I grow.
The more I surrender to the higher consciousness, the more I grow.
The more I surrender to the higher consciousness, the more I grow.
I R5, I need to know that I am taken care of.
I R5, please, Shubha ma'am, repeat it again.
Yeah, I R5, I need to know that.
I R5, I need to know that I will be taken
care of. I R5, I need to know that I am being taken care of.
I R5, I need to know that I
have been taken care of.
I will be taken care of.
I R5, I need to know that I have been taken care of.
I R5, I need to be know that I will be taken care of.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say here is if I know that I'm taken care of, then everything is happening to help me grow. I'm already taken care of. And additional things are coming in my experience to help me grow out of this comfort zone. So for me, I become a better person. And there is this need to align to higher consciousness because the higher consciousness is directing me, is guiding me. And I want the surrendering will help me open up. I don't think too much in my head. I just follow it. Follow the intuitions. So there is no conflict in our heads. That is surrendering. Surrendering helps us align with our intuition. And knowing that we are taken care of, I don't have to worry. I mean, if there is no food on the table today, yet I believe that I'm taken care of, or not believe, I know that I'm taken care of. For somewhere, either the food comes or I'm not hungry or the food is not required. I don't know, something just clicks. And that is the faith I need to have, that I am taken care of. I am aligned to my higher consciousness. My intuition is always guiding me. I only need to surrender, meaning I do not use my head. I don't think why this is not. I just surrender. So I don't bring my limited human thoughts into questioning why are these situations coming up? Because I do believe, I do have faith that all situations come to help me grow. So I surrender to my higher consciousness with faith and integrity. I surrender
I surrender
to my higher consciousness
to my higher consciousness
with faith and integrity.
with faith and integrity.
I surrender to my higher consciousness
I surrender to my higher consciousness with faith and integrity.
I surrender to my higher consciousness with faith and integrity.
I surrender to my higher consciousness with faith and integrity.
Yeah, are you comfortable with this affirmation?
Yeah, ma'am.
All right. I think let's remind ourselves today to consistently, constantly, persistently surrender and tune into our higher consciousness for intuition or guidance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.